All right, welcome back. Welcome back. So we have this story. Um, Chaos erupts at Atiku Obi meeting. Delegates shut it down. I have a story that we're going to take a
Mm-hmm.
look at on the premium news, on the
Mm-hmm.
premium
Mm-hmm.
times, and it reads: the meeting held in Abuja was disrupted over who should speak for the Jigawa delegation. A political coalition meeting involving former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, former Labour Party presidential candidate Peter Obi, and some other opposition leaders in Abuja was disrupted by some delegates to the parley on Sunday. Punch newspaper reported that the disruption
Ola,
followed. Yes, sir.
Ola, could you please
Yes,
give
sir.
me like a minute? Let me sort something out.
Okay, no problem.
Would that be okay? Yeah.
That's okay. It's okay.
Yeah.
All
Please
right.
engage our audience. Yeah. Thank you.
Yep. All right. So we're just gonna okay, we're gonna go through this news real quick. All right, so a political coalition meeting involving former President Atiku Abubakar, former Labour Party presidential candidate Peter Obi, and some other opposition leaders in Abuja was disrupted by some delegates to the party on Sunday. Punch newspaper reported that the disruption followed a disagreement over who should speak for the Jigawa State delegation at the meeting convened by the National Political Consultative Group North in Abuja Continental Hotel. Disagreement arose when Babacha Lawal, former secretary to the government of the federation, announced the name of a delegate to speak for the delegation. However, some delegates, let me just make sure that, all right, cool. However, some delegates from the state rose in protest against the person Mr. Lawal named, thereby causing tension in the hall, and proceedings were altered. Following the outrage and ensuing tension, security personnel comprising the police and the State Security Service (SSS) formed a protection barrier around Atiku, a former Minister of Transportation, Rotimi Amechi, and others. 1 second. Let's see. Oh, okay, there we go. I knew something was wrong. All right. So, however, after some minutes, normalcy was restored as Mustafa Lamido, son of former Governor Sule Lamido of Jigawa State, and one other person were picked to speak for the delegates from the state. Formation of coalition. In March, Atiku, the PDP presidential candidate in the 2023 election, and other key opposition leaders said they had formed a coalition to unseat President Bola Tinubu in the 2027 presidential poll. And I quote, yes, this is the birth of the coalition of opposition ahead of 2027, the former vice president told journalists. Other prominent coalition members are Mr. Amechi and former governor of former governor Nasser El Rufai of Kaduna State. However, since the formation of the coalition, Atiku has received opposition from the party's governors and federal lawmakers. While the governors said it would weaken the PDP, the party Senate caucus said any such movement must be party driven rather than championed by individuals regardless of their status
Mm-hmm.
within
Mm-hmm.
the party.
Mm-hmm.
However, 1 second. However, the former vice president insisted that coalition was the only way to defeat the APC. The choice of ADC. Recently, there were reports that Mr. Atiku and Obi had agreed to adopt the African Democratic Congress (ADC) as the primary coalition party to challenge President Tinubu. The coalition, however, denied the report. The public should disregard the story as it is completely false. No such decision has been taken. Coalition spokesperson Saliu Lukman said. Now, in some other news, maybe we can call it related, we've seen the likes of Davido, Chief Priest, Cubana, and many, people from the entertainment industry visited Tinubu in his office. A lot of them on their knees. People like Chief Priest, Cubana has been criticized for being on his knees when he was greeting the President Tinubu and Vice President, what's his name? I forgot his name.
Vice President Shetima.
Shetima. So he's been criticized by the likes of Isaac Fayoshe, who is a brother of Peter Fayoshe, Governor Peter Fayoshe. So there are many things like that going on, and what it looks like is Tinubu is a threat. It's a massive threat, even though it's incumbent. And it looks like PDP, there's a lot of desperate moves on all this other behemoth, because I think they're behemoths, but I don't think they believe that anymore. What's your take on this one, sir?
Really huge. Well, the little drama about who should speak on behalf of the delegation from Jigawa at the meeting of the coalition should not be overplayed, and I do not really think that. But in politics, things can be blown beyond proportion.
Yeah.
The dimension and the optics through which the average political operative sees events, situations, and statements is usually such dimensions are usually bigger than what you and I would, things that you and I would casualize, things that we would dismiss as insignificant, maybe because of our own personality and our sense of appreciation. It's never like that with the average politician. For example, I have heard of a well-known political sage in Nigeria who was receiving a message from the then exiled leader of Biafra, Chukwuemeka Odumegwu Ojukwu. He had sent people to contact the late Chief Obafemi Awolowo at Ikene, and these were negotiations, part of the negotiations ahead of Ojukwu's return to Nigeria after 12 years in exile. And when Obafemi Awolowo would send the late Dr. Tasholari back to the other two guys that were sent by Ojukwu, Obafemi Awolowo reportedly said that I don't have an attitude yet. I don't have an attitude. Yes. Ojukwu, who had so much admiration for him, years later, after he returned to Nigeria, and instead of joining, considering other political parties, in his judgment, he was, the entire thing was facilitated by the National Party of Nigeria, NPN, the ruling party of Shehu Shagari. So when Obafemi Awolowo was now making overtures to him to come and join UPN, Ojukwu also said, I have no attitude yet. But yet he was inside the NPN. You see the way these things play amongst leaders and politicians. So whatever the symbolism was, whatever was the thing that really drew the ire of the other delegates from Jigawa at that forum, which held at Abuja's Hilton, we may not know. We may not be able to say at this point. But I think there are the stakes in the race ahead may be higher than what you and I, as observers, whether we are competent or not, whatever we may think of those stakes may be higher than what you and I or the average Nigeria is considering at this moment. That said, in the last term, in the first 2 years of the administration of Mr. Bola Ahmed Tinubu as the president of Nigeria, with due respect, I've seen so much politics and not so much in terms of governance. So much politics, very little governance. Yes, first hand, our reporters tell us, oh, things are happening around Abuja in terms of infrastructural transformation. But behind the shadow behind that is never stated is the way in which the ruling party carries on. Using somebody like Wike, for example, to create opposition. It's almost like the equivalent of what used to be known in America as the scandal through which the then ruling party of uh, uh, President Richard Nixon to boggle the headquarters of the Democratic Party. And I have read that Nigerians have always wanted, their own gate. Probably this is the equivalent of it. Pull down Wadata House, embarrass people, intimidate, all kinds of stuff. But the EFCC and all kinds of anti-graft agencies in Nigeria are denying that they are not being used to hunt or hand opposition figures, politicians, or political organizations in Nigeria. I think time will tell. But I think, yes, I think from some of the events that we have witnessed, for example, advancing loans to university students, the only thing we can suggest about that is that the catchment should be expanded beyond the privilege of people going to government universities. How about those students who attend private universities? In America here, the fact that Harvard is a private university does not preclude the fact that students there can apply for students loans. Everybody should be qualified. That is the measure of equality before the law that the Nigerian Constitution talks about. You give to some people and then you don't give to others. So is it a nation for, is it just a country for people in the public universities? Mm-hmm. How about the students who are in private universities? See, I do not understand the way Nigerian lawmakers marshal their arguments. I do not understand the way Nigerian law courts uphold the impartiality of the laws of the land. But this is my little take on it. There are other things I understand that Tinubu must have done well, but weaponizing and instigating divisions within political parties falls.
May the best player win, sir.
Yeah, falls below the bar.
May the best player win. I'm not mad at him. If he
yeah,
I'm not mad at him.
Me too. Me neither. I'm not mad at him too. It is his time, and like you see everybody massing into and dissolving into the ruling APC.
I think
it's part of the dynamics of yes.
I think all the opponents have the right to bring him down. I think he has the right to do everything in his power
to understand
his office. I'm looking at some of the headlines right now. These are the most recent headlines on this matter. About 5 hours ago, Legit posted Labour Party rejects coalition ahead of 2027 election, attacks Peter Obi distasteful, and I quote, distasteful. Another one, the whistleblower, the Whistler newspaper says ADC reaffirms unity, commitment to Atiku Obi coalition. And then the Nation's newspaper 5 hours ago, coalition, Atiku draws battle line with PDP governors. Okay, these are the kind of conversations that's going on out there. So we will see.
Yeah, nothing is clear yet, but in politics, 24 hours can be like eternity. It can be like a lifetime. So yeah, let's continue to watch.
We'll see.
Hit the like button. Let's continue to watch, and we will continue to report the events as they unfold. We will be here.
Absolutely. Do me a favor, hit the like button, share, subscribe, turn up your notifications so you're notified whenever we drop videos or go live. Hopefully you've been enlightened educated. We'll see you on the next one. Take care. God bless.